Hey guys, BJ the Brave here, back with some more Warpforge content for you. And today I'm bringing you an updated Tau deck, basically. We're going to finally dive into the Tau this season. There's been quite a lot of changes in the recent balance patch. And where better a place to start than to bring out the old trusty Battlesuits. Really is one of my favourite archetypes from the Tau, is being able to build up big mecha armoured Battlesuits and send them in. Very much like a mid-range approach to a deck, and yeah, with some of the tweaks and changes that have happened, I've kind of come up with a slightly different new look. So if you go back and watch my original Shadowsun suit build, which I definitely recommend you do, you will definitely see some differences in this deck. And that's when I like to return to deck guides, when there's actually something new to show you. Sometimes I get requests saying, oh, can you do a Terror of Vardengast deck, or can you do a Grook deck? And I just like, go back and look at my last one, because the chances are I'm not thinking much has changed if you've not seen a new deck guide from me. Alright, so with that said, let's dive on in and take a look at the deck. Right, so let's work our way through. We know that Shadowsun obviously gives that trusty +1 range attack, meaning we can deal with all those 3 health units. Obviously, you can put Marker Light on something instead, meaning that multiple friendly units can essentially benefit from the +1. It's a really good ability, for 1 energy. I think it's really, really good. I would still like to see Shadowsun get some sort of passive ability. 40 health, obviously, is really, really good. But I think just not having a passive lets her down a bit sometimes. But this is a decent ability for only 1 cost. Right, let's jump in and take a look at the deck. First of all, we got a single copy of the Greater Good because it's a legendary card and it's a very good card. And especially in a deck like this where we've got lots of Battlesuits, big beefy units, and we can kind of like basically stop our opponent from touching 1 for a turn by sticking this on Shadowsun herself. Inspired to Greatness is one of the new buffed cards, and we are running 2 copies of this. Basically what it does is you can think of this a bit like a Dark Pact from Chaos, right? It's giving you +2 range, which means helps you to trade up, and it's giving you the health as well. That combination of things really allows you to trick the trade in a lot of situations, and it's difficult for our opponent to play around, right? Because they're trying to work out sort of when they're making their trades, they're trying to work out what you could counter with. And these are the types of things that they don't always account for, right? That you could suddenly buff one of your units by +2. It is a troop. You can't put it on your Warlord. But this just makes the idea of kind of like meching up and beefing up your Battlesuits even more fun. So this is a really nice addition for the Battlesuit deck. We do run double Pulse Onslaught. One of the reasons we include in this is that we don't run loads of early game drops, and this helps us compete in the early game. In the late game, it acts as a bit of reach damage for only 2 energy, which is good. And the other thing is that we also have to be careful about having too many units. And the reason for that is we run the Dynamic Offensive, and this says draw 2 troops from your deck, and if they are Battlesuits, give them flanks. So to maximize the effectiveness of this, what we're trying to do is make sure that we only run troops that either already have flank, or they don't have flank but they are Battlesuits. In other words, whichever 2 cards we then draw from this deck, this card, we know that they will be able to flank. That's the kind of idea that sits behind it. And so, if cards like Pulse Onslaught help us to play non-troops, but still help us to kind of compete for board. Similarly, the 4-drop Razor Shark, if you're struggling to have any of these cards, you could put that in for similar. If you're a slightly more beginner-friendly version of the deck, you could put that in instead. Not instead of this, but instead of some of the cards that you don't have. Next up, we have the Recon Sweep. Now, another card that got buffed. You could run Priority Target, but this isn't really a go-wide deck. So I prefer the Recon Sweep here because I think it feels more tactical, being able to actually stun and stop our opponent from attacking. Recon Sweep's pretty good at the minute because, like, we have Gym Boss decks in the game, but also what's happened is as the game has developed, more Warlords have got like passive abilities, or there are things like Agenda, or things like Denkler, who is gonna basically activate a troop that's going to be played from the hand. So stunning your enemy Warlord, for example, is becoming more and more of a premium thing to do in this game, and I find that Recon Sweep is secretly, you know, pretty darn good in the current state of the game. Now we run a single copy of Tech Supremacy. This card used to be amazing at 1 energy. It's still good at 2, but it is situational. There will be times where this is like sitting in your hand and you'll be wishing it was something else. And that's why I only run a single copy, just to try and kind of ensure that we are able to get the value from it without just having cards sitting there rotting in our hand. Double coordinated engagement. This is one of the reasons you play Shadowsun, guys, right? Obviously being able to put that cheeky 1E marker light on something and then just completely destroy it with a coordinated engagement is just absolutely awesome, right? Hard removal, 4-drop, choose what you want, brilliant. Only downside to this, of course, is it doesn't do very well against stealth, it doesn't do very well against camouflage. So if you're playing against this type of thing, then that's kind of how you want to be trying to counter it. But this just gives us that anti sort of big stuff removal. Now we run double Crisis Battlesuits because, again, they're going to benefit from the dynamic offensive. And if they don't have flank, they're also very, very good 3-drops. Emergency Dispensation, still one of the best cards in the game. Double Vespid, again, if we draw these off the dynamic, we're happy because they've got flank. Early game removal. And then we got the new Crisis Bodyguards. These guys just got a buff up to 3 melee, making them much better. And they've always been good in this particular deck because, of course, with the shield, if you get them as a flanker, then you're basically getting a 4 damage flanker that doesn't take damage back, which is fantastic. They've just become even better as a proactive drop now with 3 melee attack. Stealth Battlesuit, don't love this card, nowhere near as much as I used to do when it first came out. Obviously, it's been hit pretty hard on the stats. But it is still a stealth, and stealth is a premium, and it allows us to generate a bit of value too. We don't run tons of card draw beyond the dynamic offensive, and if we don't draw those, then sometimes the Stealth Battlesuit, being able to create an extra Crisis Battlesuit, can just extend the value that we can sort of drag out of the deck. That's everything up to the 4-drops. Now in the 5-drop slot, we do run the Broadsides. This is a unit that, I mean, I love the Broadside from the days of Tabletop, and when the faction first got released in Warpforge, these are one of my favourite units. They have been nerfed, and it's really sad, and I kind of like don't think they're anywhere near as good anymore. However, in this deck, they are fantastic, because if they are the flanker that we get from the dynamic offensive, then obviously their long range really comes into play, right? Coming on and doing 5 damage and not being hit back is phenomenal. We've got the Enforcer Battlesuits. These things just seem to get better and better and better. Now they've obviously got the armor, making them more durable, more likely to survive, and therefore great targets for our Inspired Greatness or our Tech Supremacy. And then we are changing it up a little bit, guys. Now you will know, I mean, my original Battlesuit deck, I think I was quite known for bringing the Riptides, like really fighting the corner of the Riptides, and I still think Riptides are very, very good in the Shadowsun Battlesuit deck. So if you want to play Riptides in here, absolutely feel free to put them in. I still stand by the fact that they are very good. However, I do think that the Coldstar Battlesuit is, well, first of all, it's one energy cheaper, and I do think that the armor buff that it's just recently got does mean that it's a lot better now. And the main thing there is that we can actually play this on 7. So if we don't, you have to ask yourself, what happens if you don't draw it as a dynamic offensive, which of course we do. But if we don't, playing this on 7 proactively is probably a little bit better than playing a Riptide on 8 proactively that doesn't have flank. And that was the real thinking as to what, that's really what edged it out for me. Don't get me wrong, if you get a Riptide with flank, it's still utterly phenomenal. It's pretty much another Longstrike. But it's not that good when you have to play it proactively. So definitely not opposed to running Riptides. Definitely still think they're very, very viable. You could even drop like one of the tech cards and stick one in if you want. But I am going with the double Battlesuit, Longstrike, and the double Lone Spear. Now, the Lone Spear is a unit that I've not really ever thought about in this type of deck before, and obviously it came out with an expansion, so it came out after probably when we originally made our Battlesuit decks. But it actually worked really well in this deck, right? Because we tend to play out a big unit, and our opponent tries to deal with it, and so we have an empty board, and then we play out another big unit, and our opponent tries to deal with it. And obviously with a Lone Spear, having what I'd call like half flank, right? Like most of the time this is going to have flank if we have an empty board. So this being drawn again from our dynamic offensive is actually pretty good and follows our kind of principle of what we draw is actually going to be a flanker. So that is the deck, guys. Obviously, we want to look for a nice early curve, but we also really are hunting for that dynamic offensive. Now, some people play like kind of all in on the dynamic offensive. That is one way to mulligan. You could just go all in. But my thoughts are, the problem with that is, what happens if you draw like a Battlesuit and a Lone Spear and a Longstrike? You know, it's... I think you probably just lost that game if you do that, right? So I would still try to probably keep at least one good early drop, even if you're going in pretty hard for the dynamic offensive. Okay, so want to just show you a game against Denkler, just to show off the deck a little bit. And I think that there are really two ways that these games go, particularly when we win. Like, you know, one route is obviously the dynamic offensive and the insane value that you get from the flanker. But then there's the non-dynamic offensive as well. And you can see here, like, I actually just kept that curve, right? I've got a nice proactive 3-drop and a reactive 3-drop if I need it. And I've got then a nice follow-up on 4. So I actually went with the other line here, which is to play more for curve. And against Imperial Guard, I think that's quite important. You know, if you can't keep up with the tempo of Guard, it can just be game over. It's often a bit of a tempo war, this matchup, to be honest. So he runs the lead by example on turn 1. That's not too uncommon. And you see here now we've got the opportunity to just play the Crisis Battlesuit out as a proactive. It's also not that bad a thing to play out a Vespid proactively at times with Tau. That's something to bear in mind. But here obviously we're going to go for the Crisis Battlesuit. Now he goes ahead and does the Shock Trooper, and obviously does the trick with Denkler, meaning that he can actually get out the Shock Trooper, and then he's got the timely reinforcements for another Shock Trooper as well. So a fast, really good tempo turn from our opponent. Now what we do here with the 4 energy is we can play the Vespid for 1, and we can use Hero of the Empire, buffing Shadowsun to 3, and this means that we can actually deal with the whole board this way, as opposed to dropping, say, the Bodyguard or the Stealth suit. Making use of that 1E Warlord talent like really is handy. It's one of the reasons why I really like 1E talents, because I find that they're a bit easier to weave in sometimes. So now he drops the Kassakin, takes the big 4 damage to face. Where does the ping go? It hits Shadowsun. And again, we can actually play a 4-drop and make use of our Warlord power, Warlord talent. So Hero of the Empire. And the thinking here, we could have done it the other way. We could have put 4 on the Vespid and basically just traded it. But this way we actually kept the Vespid alive. So we traded a bit of Shadowsun's health to keep aboard, basically. Now this sounds kind of interesting. Like, there's probably quite a few different ways that we could have actually run this one. We decided to just hit the shield with Shadowsun and play a sort of value play with the beacon. And we actually go with a Recon Sweep. Now, with playing the Recon Sweep, you can get away with then attacking with the Stealth Battlesuit, because actually it's still a threat, right? And really showing there what I mean by the tactical element of Recon Sweep. Like, I really am enjoying that card now at 2 energy. And he plays a proactive unit, but he had no way to deal with the board. Now, in honesty, we could have potentially taken the 3 damage and saved Pulse Onslaught there. Might have been better to do it that way. We'd have lost 1 extra health, but we'd have put 1 extra damage on him. Small difference, but definitely an option. Okay, so obviously one of the best units with Denkler is the Flamer Trooper, and he's able to clear by using that. So we're going to go with our Hero of the Empire, because again we're going to just get really good value from making our Warlord a 3 hero basher. Sorry, 3 attack basher, right? Just really important, especially against a faction like Astra Militarum that has so many 3 health units. And then we can just curve out nicely here and present a board. And we're sort of reaching that point of the game as well where Coldstar is really good with this deck in the kind of late game. If we do get dragged deep, which we don't always, it's not always the case, Coldstar can really come into play. But as it was, he conceded. So yeah, that was quite good, just in terms of showing you like what the deck looks like when you don't draw that dynamic offensive, and how you can still kind of make it work for you. All right, so let's jump into some live games now, and we have got Galaron. I think against Galaron we take Hellburst. I'm not entirely sure though, because obviously the 4 damage, being a sort of beefy mid-range unit type of build, can do a lot of damage to us. Okay, let's just keep attacking. Draw some flankers. Nice. Do we want to attack here? I mean, obviously we lose a unit, but I suppose if the strategy is to beat down... Oh, I mean, we got a bit lucky there. I was going to say, if the strategy is to just beat down face, then... Demonic Pact. Okay. Sure. So I think this is where we do this. And then we do this. Okay, at least the shield protects us from one of those. That's good. Two, 4, 5, or 2, 4, 7, 8. Plus 3 is 11. Plus 5. Yeah, I think we got him here, right? We just got to do this right. There we go. Got him. Okay, next up we have Junith. So I'm going to get rid of everything there. This is one of those where I'll go in for the... At the end of each player's turn, if they have no energy left, deal 1 damage to one of their units at random. We could have gone for the extra card, but I think this is pretty good, right? Because, yes, sure, if it hurts us, then we take 1 damage. But against them, it actually stops them from... stops one of their prayers, right? A couple of ways we could do this. We could drop the Crisis Suit and clear the troop. Or we could just hit face. Sort of stop the prayer that way. Okay. Down comes the Flagellant. Okay, so what we're going to do here is just clear this, leave 1 energy up so we don't get hit by the Disrupted Sanctuary. See, again, with having like a 1 energy talent, we're able to flex more in these types of weird games, these weird situations. Okay. So the easiest way to do this is to probably just drop this. And then clear this. And the question is whether we want to give him... Do we want to give him 1 thing here, or do we want to clear? I think we're going to give him a faith point. I'm not sure, we might regret that. Okay. So the Sanctuary hurts the Broadside. Prayer. So now, yeah, he's reached his 3. Bringing things like Seraphim online. So that's the difference, right? That's where making the trade would have made a difference. Maybe we should have used a Recon Sweep preemptively there. Not sure. Kind of like this though. Kind of like this. Spirit of the Martyr. Okay, doesn't clear the Crisis Suit and is also hurting him from a health perspective. And he takes the extra point as well. And so obviously with the Recon Sweep, and I think we would have had the game again there as well. Yeah, so it's pretty good, guys. Like, if you want to play a Battlesuit deck, I do think something like this is very, very good. I think you could obviously, like I said, run the Riptide. Another thing you could do is, you know, if you wanted to change out some of the text, you could obviously put in some AoE options instead. All right, Leontis. Will you stand it open? Okay, hits with Lord Commander, so I will be playing Dynamic Offensive here. And I won't be attacking face, because we just take an extra point of damage. Okay, so we got the Coldstar and a Vespid. Not the greatest, but actually, maybe we should have done Crisis Suit there. Yeah, we should have done Crisis Suit. Ah. Yeah, we should have done the Crisis Suit there. We could build a Mega Suit here. This thing survives. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take this out here, and then we're going to play the Tech Supremacy and get the big heal on this. Bear in mind the Coldstar is now online for the flank. Although I would kind of like to play Inspired Greatness on this suit. Then again, it might be better to even play on the Coldstar if you can't deal with it. Yeah, I think I like that even more, to be honest. Oh. Oh, this is really, really tough. This Lone Star won't clear that. I mean, it will, but it'd have 1 health left. Is that how we want to use the Lone Star? Can we really afford to leave this up? Huh, this is really interesting. I think we're gonna do it, which is kind of crazy because you so very rarely ever want to leave one of those up. Oh no, what happened? I hit the wrong thing. Does he have a vehicle though? Oh! No! Alright, well, I'm definitely going to be doing this turn. Oh, really? That seemed like a bit of a waste of that. What's the point in that? Doing a dynamic offensive here. Perfect. Should be running out of flanking options now. You can stop the long strike. The long range, I mean. But that's fine. So I actually think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to go ahead and play this. Am I going to play that now, or do I want to play this now? I'm actually going to play that now. This game's getting close. Ah, okay. Puts himself under 10 for the at all costs. It's going in for the big finish. Oh no, what's he got? Oh, God. Wow. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. It's a lot to get through. I've actually forgotten what did we get that was the other flanker? Oh no, these were the two, weren't they? Oh god. That has to die. That has to die. I think we're going to do this. And then I think what we're going to actually do is play two of these. I am going to hit there because obviously next turn that does set up possibility of killing that with the Warlord, particularly with the one Warlord talent. But by deploying the stealth drones, it does give us some flank options now. What a game! It's turned into a brilliant game. Oh no. Oh my god. It's okay. Just don't hit the one drop. You've also got the thing of killing the armoured unit. The unit that's creating the armour, I mean. Is that correct? So you're going to kill this for sure. Three vanguards to get through. Oh, we've done it anyway, right? Wow, what a game! What a game! That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. That felt very back and forth. But yeah, like I say, guys, this is a very nice mid-range deck option at the minute. I feel like it's very competitive, and I do feel like some of the tweaks and changes that we've brought in, or some of the stratagems, just add a little bit of an edge that this deck currently lacked. You can build it slightly differently if you want. You can put in a couple of risk units, you know, that that's going to be really, really great. Things like the stealth drone and those types of great tau cards. You can play them, but I've gone for the pure consistency idea here with the dynamic offensive. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I hope you enjoyed that one, and yeah, hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.